All right. How are you, sir?
Hello, Michael. How are you? I'm well.
I'm well. Hear me okay?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I think this is a great thing.
Mm. I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Um, I had to drive to somewhere where I could find phone signal. Um, with the power outages, it's a bit tricky.
I can imagine. I can imagine. No, this is, I actually, I just got home from work. My fiance asked where I was running off to, so I told her I had an important interview to do. But no, like I
Chat to
said,
some
this,
strange man.
right, right. No, I'll tell you what, actually, I came across your channel. I was following Johnny FD and Operator Starsky, and
Yes. I'm
I
on
know.
my way to see Starsky after this. He had one request, milk,
Oh,
more
perfect.
milk. Yeah.
No, I followed those guys, and I saw the first video of yours. I saw you you stressed the importance of keep clicking, keep sharing, keep talking about what's going on, and
Yes.
um, a lot of folks that I'm going to share this with, they're probably not familiar with your story. They know what's going on in Ukraine.
Hmm.
I know you've got limited time, so if you want to give us a little bit of background on you and what you're doing and how we can help, I think that'd be great.
All right. That's very open-ended.
Yes.
That's very open-ended. Yeah, no, my name is Brandon Mitchell, and I grew up in a small town in the East Coast in Canada. Um, I I don't know. I always had a fascination with geography, if you'll entertain me. And I'm old enough now, and I assume you're old enough too. There used to be this place called the Soviet Union. So when I looked at a map, it took up everything.
Yes.
And when I have no relations to Ukraine at all. I'm a boxing fanatic, an amateur historian. I know of their great accomplishments in the sport of boxing. I had no other connection whatsoever. Uh, um, yeah, I joined the Army Reserves. I quit school, joined the Army. Probably about the last year that you could actually do that. Um, Almost 20 years ago. And I never had a combat tour. Uh, Probably till about 30, I had a chip on my shoulder about that. My biggest thing about my channel is honesty and self-humility. It seems to go down with a lot of people. So, but I found peace with myself. I've lived and traveled all over the world, mostly in the UK. Did a brief stint in Northern Ireland when I was in the British Army. But yeah, I more or less made peace with that and put all those things to bed, so to speak. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Um, but when the war happened, um, I I was enraged. I felt oh my God, I can't even describe what I felt inside of me. The horror pictures that we were subjected to by the CNN, the BBCs, everywhere in the world. World War III, Kiev will fall in a few days. Um, I seen the same pictures as you've seen and many people seen where people who never took up arms in their life were forced to take up arms. Women, children hiding. Um, it made me sick inside, and I, um, I I didn't. I thought basically, like everybody, the global implications of this war. Um, I was utterly horrified by what I'd seen, and day three of the war, Mr. Zelensky asked for volunteers for people to come and help. And I was very charmed by that. I was very, very charmed by that man would, in his moment of desperation, his charisma, but humble to ask for foreign volunteers. Um, so thankfully to Corona and bankruptcy under Corona and a relationship that could have been better. Um, if there's a God out there, he took everything out of the way, so to speak. Uh, I'm not resentful at all, but I didn't have to lose on paper what a lot of men did. My dog. I miss my dog. But
Mas,
yeah, Masa.
right.
Yeah, I made all the arrangements. I told my Aunt Jennifer, who's like my mother, and my employer. I lied to them. I told them I had a family emergency, and it wasn't till about 4 days before I went. I told, because a lot of people said I'm going to go to Ukraine. Yeah, and yeah, when I told them it was for real, I work. I'm in Sweden. I work. I'm a stone worker. I learned the trade to work with marble, granite. It's an Estonian company in Sweden. Estonia borders Russia. Do you know how supportive they were of me coming to Ukraine? I've spent a lot of time in Estonia. I know how they feel about Russia, what they think about Russia. I've stared at Russia across the border. They were so supportive, and should I ever choose, when I choose, my job's waiting for me. All the support from friends. But yeah, I crossed over in early March with a group of Swedes, 5 of us, and we all eventually joined the Hospitalers Medical Battalion, which has been fighting in this war, the old war, since 2014. There was 5 of us. We've all participated in war activities and rotations. There was 3 of us left until 2 weeks ago. My friend Nico died in Bakhmut 2 weeks ago. That kind of hits home. But I missed myself the Battle of Kiev. I didn't participate in, but I was quite active on the Zaporizhia front when it was quite hot in April, May, and until about June it started to calm down. If you like your history, that's the south underbelly of the war.
Sure.
That's like Italy in the big war. Yeah. I eventually got involved in Donbass. Not a lot of people that speak English know about this. I got involved with volunteers, and the word volunteer in Ukraine, it's not like volunteering with your Rotary Club. It's not anything like that. Myself and another hospitaler, an American boy, ex-army, great paramedic, Casey. He came from Wisconsin originally, lived in Texas. Him and I took off together with a vehicle I fundraised to go to Donbass to do casualty evacuation. After the fall of Lysychansk, when we drew out from Severodonetsk, the Ukrainian army pulled out so fast it was like a reverse of Kharkiv. A lot of people think that was a great victory in Kharkiv, and it was. But the Russians pulled out faster than we could kill them.
Right.
And it was like that. There was a power vacuum right when we arrived in Donbass. There was virtually no fighting for about 3 weeks in northern Donetsk Oblast, and we were basically out of work. We missed the war. But I got involved with a volunteer. He's an IT nerd who grew up in Connecticut with Ukrainian parents. And the first time I met Dmitry, he pulls up with a Jeep, a shotgun, and 2 cats. And what is this?
Ready to go.
But what Donbass has that nowhere else in Ukraine has, it has a history of volunteers, civilian volunteers, army volunteers. They're independent individuals with a van, a 4-wheel drive. They might be armed, they might not, and they're very independent minded. And what Dmitry did, he was like postal Spetsnaz, and he would have relations with 93rd Brigade, 72 Brigade, National Guard, and he would meet guys, and then he would go get their packages for them, whether it be clothing, food, guns, medicine. What he was trusted, and he would bring it to another town. He would bring it to Zero Line. And he didn't want to be part of a group or an organization. He knew many other volunteers. He would help any other volunteer. but because the war had gone on in Donbass for so long, and I find this a fascinating subject, the Ukrainian volunteers, these people have connections with the police, with the army, with the civil administration. It couldn't possibly exist in the Kherson front because this is a new war. So I got involved with these people, and helping any way you could. Still a member of my battalion, but working independently. I wasn't on medical rotations anymore, and then that led to civilian evacuations in villages which are now Russian, and I'd never worked with civilians. And if I can be quite honest, I started fundraising here for things for the army, mainly generators. But then all of a sudden I could film things that I couldn't film with the army because they were civilians. So I seen the follower count go up. I seen the money go up
Right.
relative to the explosions. And I mean, show an American woman a wounded soldier or statistics, I mean, it doesn't mean anything. Show them a grandmother and show them a dog or a cat. And I mean, the dogs and the cats of Ukraine, what they've done for our efforts. Yeah, but eventually in a town called Soledar, my luck ran out. I was working with a guy from the civil administration, evacuating people, and for the last 3 days until what happened to me, we were working on the Russian side of Soledar. You have to traverse very quickly down to the riverbed, and then the hill goes up on the Russian side. But once you're down there in that low ground, they can't see you, but they know you're there. It's very bizarre. I don't encourage anybody to do that. But on my last night working in Knopf, I drove over 2 anti-personnel mines, and they dropped them from the air. And yeah, my truck blew up. I suffered a traumatic brain injury, and I've lost most of the hearing in my right ear. I kind of became, in Ukraine with foreign volunteers, I kind of became famous in that small community, and I spent a month in hospital. My battalion commander took very good care of me, and now I continue to serve in hospitals in a logistical role. I stay in Donbass. So many ambulance crews. You know, the biggest thing they need is tires.
Tires.
But through those volunteers and through those contacts that I met through the volunteers, I have more local knowledge of northern Donetsk Oblast than most locals. I don't say that bragging, but just through those people that had been working there since the old war. So I'm able to help a lot of people. That feels really good to be able to solve problems quick. Like, I don't know if you know much about cars, and I don't know why here, but alternator seems to be the most common part that goes wrong here. Maybe the mud and the wet and the bogs. Yeah, but just things like that. And I document my work still with civilians. We've now crossed into Luhansk Oblast, and I'm quite honest with all my followers. I do it for money, but because I document it all, and I'm in the fortunate position. You know, we have some good BF Goodriches behind us here. I've bought quite a few sets of those. The more things I buy and the more I document, I'm in a very. I'll stop there with that, but I'm in a very blessed position.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you, watching
That's
the
it.
yeah, watching the channel, it's almost, it's a breath of fresh air in that we're seeing a side of the conflict that hasn't been in our face the whole time, the humanity of it, and through that, one of the things that I found most endearing about your channel is it's you doing the filming, and often the talking, but it's often not about yourself. It's about the people around you. It's about the people that you're helping. It's detailing the stories that you've seen, detailing the generosity of the people that are so freely giving to what you're doing. And like you, student of history, boxing fanatic, my favorite boxer growing up, Rocky Marciano and Vitaly Klitschko,
Wow,
many years
interesting
ago.
combination.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense, does it?
No.
um, but years ago, I had actually, as a teenager, I made a post that they could solve this whole thing if Vladimir Putin and Vitaly Klitschko climbed into the ring together. Maybe we could put this to bed.
No contest.
No, not at all. Um, so seeing those things, hearing those things, I felt an instant connection to what you were doing and your story. And I started volunteering very early on in this with a couple of American vets that are serving in the International Legion.
Mm,
Kurt Kimball and Troy Offenbecker, they're actually both there now. And
okay.
working with them was just the honor of a lifetime. And I saw your story and I thought, how can we help? What can we do? So I thought we could get together like we have here and put something together and go from there. What to us in the West,
Yeah.
you had a great line that just really hit home to me and a lot of people I've shared it with. You were talking about the people that didn't turn the channel when Johnny Depp went to court. Can you can you elaborate on that and what you meant by that? Because I know it's a funny line, but there's a lot to be said about us in the West and our attention span.
Yeah. Well, I'm a man that feels a bit out of sorts with the modern world. And I deleted the Instagram and then eventually the Facebook a couple of years before the war. You know, why am I having an argument about a fight with Kenny Norton in 1974 on Facebook with someone I never met? And make sure your grammar is perfect, you know, because when
Right.
you're going to have an argument with someone on the internet, if they want to be pedantic, and yeah, there was so much. I did a video, if you'll entertain me, about a woman named Olga Simonova, a Russian volunteer, and it wasn't about her. It was about words I learned in Russian because I learned more Russian here, and I talked about the division in Western countries that I felt it was very painful to live, you know, and watch the news, watch whatever, Brexit in the UK. You have a lot of division in America over the past few years. I just mentioned one former president's name. I didn't say a bad word, and somebody wrote me in that video. Do you know, I didn't say a bad fucking thing about Trump.
Right.
Do you know, if you listened, sorry, but there's so much division in the world, and what I experienced in Ukraine, there was this beautiful unity. There was a unity, and I only knew about this when I got social media 2 months into the war, and I started to learn. It didn't matter if you were black, you were white, you were Christian, you were Muslim, you were left, right. People were for Ukraine, right? And I felt this beautiful unity and love. And what happened? Very, very, very sad. And deservingly so. There was a horrible school shooting in Texas, and that happened around the same time as the Johnny Depp trial, and deservedly so. That got all the attention that it should for those children and their families. But a celebrity in his divorce trial. Um, uh, this is the time we live in. You know, I call them the TikTok yo-yos. And I learned how to edit videos on Instagram. Like if I film the ambulance and I showed at the end of the video, whatever way I film the ambulance and they seen the blood at the end, I'd watch the analytics, 20% would watch. But if I film the blood first, 45% would watch till the other end. I get all that. But there were certain people after that trial that stayed with Ukraine. They cared about Ukraine. There's people that you might follow on the internet. You know, I don't watch anything about Ukraine on YouTube. I find it exhausting. Um, and but I have watched some videos. There's people that there's people like Operator Starsky. There's a man, Jake Bro. This guy Andrew Mercado. He's coming up and he's producing good videos. And more people like yourself are turning. You know, like such a cliche, the mainstream media. But they're turning to other people who really do their homework. And I can only give anecdotes. I'm no expert. I'm not interested in what's happening in Kherson or if the Russians are coming to Belarus. I'm interested in the road from Soledar to Siversk. I'm very interested in that. There's a burnt out tank there. I want to know about, that's my world. But these people, and I see the comments on YouTube particularly, they're very intelligent, they're very well thought out, and in the Ukraine community, if there is, I think there's things like Reddit as well, I'm quite ignorant to, there's very little hatred amongst the people and dissension in the comments. There is the trolls, of course, but not many. I don't know if you read comments, I find them fascinating. There's people that are staying with this cause, and I think if Ukraine's to win the war, and that's not guaranteed, by the way, that's not guaranteed. I'm not buying into Times Radio, which is a British thing, where every day how Russia's failing. They've been saying that for 9 months, but they're not done yet. But there's people that are prepared to support us. And I think if we'll win the war, the effort from the populations of America, of Canada, Australia, of Europe, that will contribute no less of a factor than what Biden imposes on you with your taxes,
Right.
or what the British government donates. And I'll tell you how that works. I do know about the weapons shipments, and when we have a victory, they slow down, and when we struggle, they speed up. This is not the act of a friend. This is the act of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. This is the act of governments who hate Russia but don't love Ukraine. And I don't want to cause dissension, but that's the way I see it. But when I see people organized, particularly in Europe, good logistical networks, they do fundraising. Now NGOs don't, they're not so shy to support the army anymore. That's changed over the past few months. Even corporations are now supporting the Ukrainian army because they found, our people will still buy off us if we support the army, because that's what that's all about.
Right.
But individuals who are organizing and they're getting us what we need, not what they think we should have. It's when the medical supplies come, the best medical supplies come from people with no medical background. They come from your Rotary clubs, your Lions clubs, a group of paramedics, or police forces. A man in New Jersey organized something. They get us what we need. Hospital corporations, they get a tax write-off on what they donate. They donate expired tubing. They donate expired medications. Some of them work, some of them don't. I'm going to get shot here, but there's a lot of things we throw in the garbage here.
Right.
But that you don't want me to lie, right?
No, not at all. Absolutely.
But it's when we ask for certain things, there's no tax deduction in that. NLI Fact just joined. He's a man from the Netherlands who supported this war long before I ever came. They ask, what do you need? And one man and a few people have joined him. You know, he has children and bills to pay, but don't ask me how they organize this stuff. But sometimes a box like this is it's quite often worth more to us than a whole truck where medical supplies are sold to you as the public in terms of kilogram and tonnage. It doesn't work that way. So it's been the individuals. More recently, somebody has contacted me about Motorola radios, VHF radios. When people say to me, and I don't mean to be sarcastic, but I say, oh yeah, let's see you pull this off. They said, what do you need over there? I want to get it for you. So I'll write down a list. white phosphorus night vision goggles, diesel generators, 5.5 kilowatt to 7 kilowatt. I would like Motorola VHF radios. And they'll be, oh, how much are the radios? I'll send them a link to a guy in England that can bring them to us. Yeah, minimum one's going to be about 350 euros, 350, $400. Okay, that turned into 7 radios just recently, and I'm one individual that people contacted. That's what we need. We don't need people to be posting clothing anymore. Why would you spend more in postage, especially from America, to send things to pay more than what we can get it for in Ukraine? That's false charity. I'll say no more about that. That's to feel good. But there's individuals, concerned citizens like yourself, and there's thousands of them. Maybe there's millions of them. And some of them just, yeah, they give us cash and they trust us with it. The more I recommend other volunteers, and I don't recommend many, the more money they get, the more money I get. But for you as a citizen at home, to keep clicking those Instagram stories that people can't ignore, because it just keeps it in the mind. Oh yeah, Ukraine, oh, over there. You know, that's what they used to call it in Midwest America. They used to call Afghanistan and Iraq. Yeah, he was over there. Over there. Your brothers and sisters. Yeah. But it's not that. It's not that with you. It's not that with people who are watching. It's a greater degree of empathy.
I agree. When you said that about the Johnny Depp line in that episode on your, I was blown away. I've been in public service, and I've seen the 2-week attention span on full display, and God bless people. That's how we are today, and it takes a lot of self-discovery to realize that we're that way, I believe. And most people today, they don't have time to sit down and think about that. Life's moving so fast. But I think when you see something like this, like the war in Ukraine happening, and as you said, we're confronted with the images of just chaos, unbridled, unmitigated chaos, women and children being killed. I think that you referred to it as a hole in your soul. See, I'm paying attention. I listened to you. You referred to it as a hole in your soul, and you're filling that with service. And I think that this has really directed a very large light to a lot of people's souls, where maybe they realize that that's there. They hadn't had to confront it before, but when they see this, they see it on television, and it's not. I'm being careful because I'm ad-libbing. It's not over there anymore. Now it's where we're from, where us as Americans, where we came from. This is Europe. These are people, and I don't mean this in a terrible way. These are people that look like us, and this is
That's
happening.
why I'm here.
Right. I totally understand.
Judge me and crucify me.
Yeah. No, I
good things getting done nonetheless.
Absolutely. And I think this has woken people up, has shown people that we have to slow down, we have to start paying attention, because where we have neglected our responsibilities on the world stage for many years, and we're fighting with each other over these trivial issues that at the end of the day, we're not going to agree with each other. By the way, there's a conflict brewing over here, and oh, my guy could handle it better, my guy could handle it the best. Well, nobody was handling it all, and now it's opened this up, and the people are paying for it, and I think
dearly
with their lives. And we have a responsibility. What was it? George Washington said, "There's honor in all service," and what you're doing is phenomenal. What your team's doing is phenomenal. What the Ukrainian army is doing is nothing short of miraculous. And every little volunteer effort, I coordinated with a group of American veterans here, and said, hey, when this kicked off, we need socks, we need uniforms, we need boots, we need all, this was in the opening days. And duffel bags, totes, you name it, they brought them. They brought them to me at work. Here, you take them and load them up and get them. We had some vintage, some very sweet vintage military surplus gear go in. Alice packs, probably from the 70s and
I
80s.
know the Alice packs.
We moved them in. I'm currently working with a gentleman. We're working on boots. He said that their team needed boots, so we're working on that. I have a mode of transport, and I'll wind up, but I'm talking with a school teacher, a friend of mine, and she wanted to work through her school for a fundraiser to do something. She didn't know what, and she said she wanted to do something more for the Ukrainian people,
Yes.
As opposed to the military. The military is receiving aid, and when I saw your comments about medicines being in short supply, the list that you had given me of things that you needed, I thought this is somewhere where her school could make an impact. How we can't forget about this component also. So being somebody that sees the highlight videos with the sweet music and the planes flying overhead and the bombs going off and everything else.
Every day and everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Your channel illuminates that, I'm not going to say forgotten component, but the not often reported component. So that's why I wanted to sit down and talk with you and get more of your story out there to my network. And we do have a list of things that you do need. I'm going to take a look at that. And I'll talk with you more in private about what would be more effective. But to everybody that's watching this in my network, you've, I guess the right way to say it is, you've opened your minds to this cause, you've opened yourselves, your families to this cause, and you've supported some, I think, honorable work that I've asked you to do in the past. So if you would consider it again, I think that what Brandon is doing is nothing short of excellence. If you want to follow his channel, it is, you go to YouTube, you can look it up, Ukraine_TBIC, and there's, Brandon opens himself up to what he's doing, and be that personal, private, professional. He's very open, very honest, and from an ocean away, somebody that I definitely connect with, and somebody that I'm going to work with and help in any way that I can. So if my friends, anybody watching, after we get this posted on Facebook to my network, I'll have Brandon's YouTube channel linked up in the description, and ways to donate. And then he and I will talk more as we go on about physical supplies going in, or if we're just going to donate money straight to him. I think there's a world of good that we can do there.
And also, if I could interrupt, some people might not be comfortable donating to a shady individual, such as myself. There is a group I can't recommend enough. I've worked with International Aid Group in Germany since June. They supply several army units. There was a hospital in Kharkiv, and myself. And now they have NGO status. And what they came off the back of, another organization that was long-standing in Switzerland and Germany, of ex-military, paramedics, firefighters, that their primary cause was fighting bushfires in the summer. What a fantastic, but these guys, off the back of that, they wanted to focus solely on Ukraine. They've just delivered to me 17 generators on Saturday. I won't get into the politics of it, but I could acquire 20 more possibly on the 28th of December. They delivered 400 armor plates the other day to a specific unit. They're not bringing diapers, okay? They're not bringing guns either, okay? But they're bringing what we ask for. if anybody wanted to support them, how nice is it to have the Germans on our side this time? How
Oh,
can we lose? How can we lose?
and
Um,
what was that NGO's name, Brandon?
International Aid Group. There's several posts on my Instagram with them. Most of their posting is in German, but you can use the translate function. I might encourage Enrico to maybe do some more in English. You know, I can't say I can't stress enough. There's so many good Ukrainian causes that they don't cater to the English market, the English speaking market, and so many people are desperate to find out about them. You'll never get a tax deduction, but if you scroll back a couple of my posts, Ukraine Volunteer Day, which comes the day before Armed Forces Day, I acknowledge some Ukrainian volunteers that I work with in Donbass that are maybe underfunded. If people want to send them money, it's all in the post. Now that I have a Ukrainian bank account, I'm only sending the money myself because I've you know, people can support those individuals. You know, I'm sure there's more, but I don't know them. You know, and to be completely honest, I'm not interested in Kherson because I'm one man. I want to know Donbass. It's a big war. And you and I'd never have this chat. It's sad. It's a beautiful thing, but it's sad it has to come to things like this.
Right, right. Well, it's been a privilege talking to you, and this is something that I know you're planning on coming to the States eventually. I had seen a recent video.
Yeah, I put a feeler out there. This wonderful girl Kendra, who used to support ex-American Special Forces guys who didn't really stay here, didn't really last the course, most of them, for various reasons. But she's done a lot of organizational management, and we've been talking maybe a possibility of myself and a female hospitaller coming to America and of course to Canada and doing like a speaker tour, and those donations would not be directly to myself. I think that's unspiritual for such an undertaking. But I would like people to support our battalion, which they have a 501c, I think it's called in America, where you can get a tax deduction, because hospitallers' mandate is to plug holes in Army medical that with teams seconded all over the country and only growing. We're in the beginning stages of talking about that, to do speaker functions in America, and she'll help me curate it. So I mean, I have a propensity to use the F word quite a bit, and we can't really be doing that
Right.
on university campuses and various places. But on my YouTube I can, because it's my YouTube.
It's yours.
Yeah.
That's right.
But no, I don't know if we'll be saying the F word in front of a group of church ladies. So yeah, if maybe I could come to. Where are you based?
Right in the middle of the heartland of Illinois. So I was going to say we'd love to have you, and you've gained a lifelong friend and an ally in this. So, and I think many more along the way. So
We just have to do the best we can.
yes, sir. I agree. Well, I'll tell you what. I know you've got a lot of work ahead of you today. I won't keep you much longer. But
yeah, I've got to go see Starsky. He's going to show me how to work the GoPro. He gave me a GoPro, so I'm going to try to document better.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do the best I can for you guys. Well, for everyone here.
For everyone, yes. Well, and it's the work you're doing, and I know you're not one who suffers compliments well. That's not your style. But the work that you're doing is, as I said, God bless you. We'll as soon as you make it to the States, we'll talk about a warm meal, and we'll sit down and do some visiting. And I'm looking forward to it.
I'd like that. Thanks.
Excellent. You bet, my friend. Well, you stay safe, and you've gained a new friend and ally in this, and I'll be in touch, and we'll see what we can do on our end.
We're gonna if se bude dobre, everything will be fine.
Perfect. All right, my friend. Well, you take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Ha, got you. I know.